It's time for Where You Live with Gene and Tony, the show that's all about owning, buying, selling, renting, and association management. If it involves a home, we'll talk about it. Here's your chance to get your homeowner questions answered. Here are Gene and Tony.
Needed the shelter of someone's arms, and there you were. Needed someone to understand my ups and downs, and there you were.
Good morning and welcome once again to Where You Live with Gene and Tony. I'm Gene Sullivan.
And I'm Tony Crockett. What have we got going on today, Gene?
We've got a lot of great stories. Here's some of the stories and news that we are tracking for you today. We're going to begin with a story on a woman who, it's unfortunate, her husband died from a skateboarding accident, but she's suing everybody along the way because everybody's responsible, she feels, for this tragic accident. We're going to talk about this. We want to know what you think about that. We also have some feedback from one of our listeners from last week who gave us an email. So we'll go into our email bag and pull that out and address that for people. And then we also have a article a little bit later on. It's about a condominium association called the Dolphin Towers, and they are hurting in the worst way. They are finding that the insurance company may not be paying for a claim that they have that comes to like $8.2 million.
Wow.
So we're going to talk about that and find out what's going on there.
Okay.
But right now, as always, it's time for Property Management in the News. And Property Management in the News today, of course, is brought to you by Pest Control Services. When you need to get rid of unwanted pests in your home or rental property, you want to call someone who's responsive, professional, and a proud member of Angie's List. Give owner Greg Keener a call at 952-894-9748. That's Pest Control Services.
Dateline Columbia Falls, Idaho on July 27th, 2011. City sued for skateboard fatality in 2008. This is from the Hungry Horse News. The widow of a man who died following a skateboarding accident on a bike path in the Cedar Point subdivision has sued the city of Columbia Falls and others connected with the subdivision. Sarah Kent, who was married to Casey Kent when he died, filed a 10-count complaint in Flathead County District Court on June 1st. In her complaint, Kalispell attorney John Lacey claims the design, construction, and approval of the path and trail system in the Cedar Point subdivision fails to comply with applicable regulations and standards intended to ensure the health and safety of those who would use it. That includes failing to meet applicable slope, clearance, sightline, hazard barrier, and signage requirements, the complaint says. Individually and collectively, those failures create a multitude of unreasonably dangerous conditions, some hidden and lurking, the complaint says. According to the plaintiff, Casey Kent suffered a significant head injury on June 2nd, 2008 in a fall that occurred as he skateboarded on a steep, curved section of the path. He died 12 days later, leaving behind a child and a pregnant wife. The suit names the city of Columbia Falls and 4 others involved in the approval, design, construction, maintenance, or development of the subdivision. In count 1, Sarah Kent claims the defendants negligently failed to mitigate the high probability of injury, including death, by not erecting or maintaining adequate barricades. The defendants knowingly invited Casey Kent's travel on the path. In count 9, an attractive nuisance claim, the plaintiff claims children and adults alike will be unable to discover or realize the dangerous condition of the Cedar Point subdivision path and trail system. The plaintiff claims in the wrongful death suit physical and emotional pain and suffering, loss of past and future earnings, and medical expenses. In addition to these damages and fees, Kent seeks abatement of the nuisance. So here's a property claim or property issue. Yeah. She's claiming that things were not constructed correctly, and that led to the death of her husband. What do you think about that, Gene?
The first thing that came to my mind, Tony, when I first read this story is how far we have gone as a society in terms of taking responsibility for our life.
Or not taking responsibility. No,
yes,
I understand what you meant.
Thank you for that correction.
Yeah.
Yes, for not taking responsibility. Exactly.
For ourselves.
What
yeah.
you said. But I remember as a kid, don't you? If something happened, you fell down, you scraped, you hurt yourself, your parents' first response wasn't to, well, we're going to sue the next door
That's
neighbor
right.
where it happened. I remember coming home because the next door neighbor's dog bit my hand, and I remember my dad saying, what did you do to provoke the dog?
Leave the darn dog alone.
Exactly. But here we have someone, and this is a grown-up, an adult, not a child.
Yeah.
So some of the claims that they're making, I think, are just unbelievable
And unreasonable.
And yes,
I guess I believe an adult should make a decision for him or herself as to whether or not he can handle a path on his skateboard. I'd be curious to find out if this path was even meant for skateboarding, or if this is a hiking, biking kind of path.
Yeah, well, wasn't that one of the arguments that the attorney for Sarah Kent was using? She said that she thought things were negligent on behalf of all of these different parties. They said because they referred to it as they were this path was encouraging this Casey Kent to use it in this
on his
manner.
Skateboard, yeah.
And I don't. And how can you make that kind of claim?
They didn't really include in the story any kind of facts on what that claim was based upon.
To me, this is a case. Again, it's unfortunate
It's horrible.
that she lost her husband.
Absolutely, it's tragic.
The claims that she says that she has, I'm sure, are all there. Lost wages,
right?
Costs for the hospital and so many other things.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not something that I think that she has the right to be able to ask all of these other people. And let's talk about that for a moment. Who are all of these people? What happens nowadays in most lawsuit claims, attorneys will tell people whether it's right or wrong. You don't go after the one person you have an issue with. They want you to think and name for them anybody that's even possibly lightly associated.
Basically, anyone you can think of.
Yeah,
let's tack them on here.
Because the idea is not justice, but let's nail everything to the wall and see what'll stick.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that is just unconscionable.
Yeah.
So here they've named the city of Columbia Falls. They have named the engineering company that did the path. It's a bike path, not a.
I don't know. It doesn't. The story doesn't say what the path was intended for.
Yes, that's true. But I don't know that. But again, what is considered too steep of a
and you know what?
of a curve for a skateboard? I think that's up to the individual knowing or not, or knowing what their proficiency level is.
In my experience, public paths and sidewalks and public areas are never designed for skateboarding. In fact, often you'll see signs that say no skateboarding allowed. The only areas I've seen designed for skateboarding are the skateboard parks. Yeah. You might see where guys can ride their skateboards and girls and do their tricks and I guess break their neck if they want to.
Yeah. The other thing they have named here, the principal owner and developer of the subdivision, the entire subdivision. They've named the Cedar Point Homeowners Association, and I think they've named, and here we go, that's why they're on the show here.
There you go.
They've named a homeowners association only because they are adjacent to where this happened.
Sure.
This isn't even property that they own.
And it says they named John Doe's A to Z which represent all landowners, contractors, engineers, or others involved in the approval, design, construction, maintenance, or development. So they're also leaving it open-ended.
Yeah.
So in case they find out that the guy on the golf cart who was driving from one part of the community to the other left, who knows? If they can find out his name, they're going to name him too.
Yeah, and then lastly, the thing that really just gets me about this is what they call Count 9. Now, we heard about Count 1. And now here, Count 9 is, they said, an attractive nuisance claim, and they are talking about the children defense. And, I mean, I can't believe it. Here we have the children. Is she really concerned about the children? I don't know that is a real concern. That seems to be kind of just thrown in there. Yeah, that's the appearance that it's given. Anyway.
Sure, and based on the facts that are in this news story, and we know that news stories are often one-sided or leave out pertinent facts. But based on the facts in this news story, it seems like a really frivolous claim and an unfounded claim. However, insurance companies jump in and pay out money for claims like this, don't they, Gene?
Yes.
And now
Yes,
she's named at least 4 or 5 entities who have insurance, and John Doe's A to Z. Some of those are going to have insurance. So she's just built the pot of possible money as large as possible.
Yeah. And truthfully, that's what a number of homeowner associations and property owners need to take a look at today, and that is not only insurance for the liability for the property, but they need to take a look at what's considered umbrella insurance for something additional to cover for other type of things. You may have coverage for $1 million, but if you if someone sues you for $2 million, you've got that other $1 million out of pocket.
Sure.
So I see a lot more homeowner associations, unfortunately, but have to think about those kinds of issues and include additional insurance coverage. Do go out of the way with additional signage, even with things that are just adjacent to their property, telling people what they can and can't do, even though we might think that seems ridiculous, that it's overstating. Apparently not in the society we live in today.
I guess not.
Well, that's property management in the news. Well, looking at the clock, we need to take a quick break. When we come back, we will deal with our next story, and that is this was from a listener from last week, and we got an email, and it's entitled, "I don't live in an association now, but I don't know that I'd ever want to live in one." So we'll read those comments and talk about those after these messages.